Ever feel like, you know how some people, they just make English sound like super smooth?
Effortless?
Yeah, like they're riffing, I don't know, jazz while we're stuck on like chopsticks.
I hear that.
But today's deep dive, it's all about, finding that shortcut to that effortless fluency.
And the thing is, it might only take 10 words.
10 words. Seriously.
10 words.
Our listener actually sent over this really cool piece about it, about unlocking that natural English sound. And honestly, some of the words they picked surprised me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I love about these deep dives. Always something new to uncover. Ready to jump in?
Let's unlock those secrets.
Okay, so first up is absolutely. But, forget the dictionary definition for a sec.
Right.
Think about it. When do you actually hear someone say, absolutely? It's not just a yes, is it?
It's definitely more than a yes. It's like a yes, but it's radiating confidence. It shows real enthusiasm. It tells the other person, I am totally on board with what you're saying.
Exactly. It's like saying yes, but with an exclamation point and maybe a power pose or something.
Uh-huh.
And what's cool, the source even mentions that those little things, those little details can actually make a difference in how confident you sound in English.
For sure. The words we choose, they don't just get the message across. They shape how people see us, how they see us as communicators.
So imagine those times when you really want to show you're into something, you agree. Instead of just, a plain yes. How could absolutely make that message stronger, project that confidence?
It's those subtle things, those nuances that elevate your speech. You go from just giving info to really connecting with someone.
Speaking of subtle, next up is actually, now this one, it's kind of a chameleon,
Oh, how so?
Well, it can correct someone without being too harsh. It can add a little twist to a story or even, soften a statement so you don't sound too harsh.
It's versatile. Yeah. Actually lets you jump in, clarify something, or even totally change the direction of the conversation. Mm-hmm. And it does it all smoothly, subtly. People keep listening.
Right. Imagine you're talking about how much you love, say, pineapple on pizza.
Okay, a classic controversial topic.
Exactly. And someone's giving you that look, the one, you could be like, actually, it reminds me of this incredible pizza I had in Italy once. Suddenly, you're not just arguing about toppings, you're sharing an experience.
Exactly. Disagreement becomes a chance to connect. And that is really powerful to have in your, conversational toolbox.
Okay, listeners, time to put this into practice. Think of something that usually surprises people about you. Got it. Now, how could you use actually when you tell them about it? How could you make that reveal even better? Because remember, it's all about the delivery.
Don't be afraid to play around with it. Say these words out loud, even if you're by yourself. The more you practice, the more natural it'll feel when you're chatting with someone.
Absolutely. It's like that saying, right? Practice makes. Well, at least less awkward, right? Okay, moving right along. Let's talk definitely. This one's all about certainty. Like that friend who always shows up no matter what.
Definitely takes away the doubt. You're committed. It's a strong word to use when you want to reassure someone or really express how much you believe in something.
It's like saying, I'm all in, 100%. Think about it. I'll be there versus I'll definitely be there. That second one, that's a promise.
And that difference, that can be huge. Think about work, negotiations, even just making plans with friends.
Totally. You're not just saying you'll try to make it to their dog's birthday party. You're saying you'll be there ready to celebrate.
And speaking of navigating those, those social situations, let's talk maybe.
Yeah.
It might seem kind of like the opposite of definitely, but it's not about not having an opinion. It's about that, that gray area where all the possibilities are.
Right. Maybe is that, what's it called? That get out of jail free card.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Hey, want to try this new snail and squid smoothie? Maybe. Let's see what else they have.
Perfect example. Mm-hmm. It gives you that wiggle room, avoids putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
But it's not just for those awkward moments. Maybe can also be really useful for, just being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
It says, hey, I don't have all the answers, which actually can make you sound more relatable.
Oh, that's a good point. Because let's face it, none of us have it all figured out, right?
Exactly.
It's about keeping it real, being genuine, and sometimes maybe is the most genuine answer you can give.
100%.
Yeah.
Now let's switch gears a little and unravel the magic of because. Seems like such a simple word, right?
Yeah.
But it's the key to like unlocking a deeper understanding.
Because it's like that friend who always needs the backstory, the why behind everything. And you know what? They usually have the best stories to tell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it adds depth, it adds reasoning. Instead of just saying, I love that movie, you could say, I love that movie because the visuals were stunning and the story, it really resonated with me.
Yeah.
See the difference?
It's like you're inviting someone into your head, you're letting them see how you think, and that makes you so much more interesting to listen to. It turns a simple statement into a story.
Exactly. And that makes you a better communicator. You're not just talking at someone, you're inviting them to connect with you, on your level.
Okay, listeners, time for a little challenge. Think about something you're really passionate about. Now, how would you explain that passion to someone using because? What's that why behind what lights you up?
And while you're thinking about that, let's move on to a word that just radiates positivity. Amazing.
Amazing. Smooth transition. But you're so right. This word, it gets a bad rap sometimes. People say it's overused. But I think this source makes a really good point. It's all about how you use it, the sincerity behind it.
Exactly. When you genuinely use amazing to describe something you're impressed by, it just brightens the mood. You create this shared excitement.
It's like a verbal high five. That presentation was amazing. You aced that interview. Amazing. You're not just acknowledging them, you're celebrating with them.
Precisely. And that shared energy that builds connection, that builds rapport. Simple word, but powerful when it comes from the heart.
So listeners, what's had you feeling that amazing energy? What have you seen, done, experienced lately that really deserves that word?
Sometimes it's good to remind ourselves of the good stuff,
For sure. And speaking of good stuff, let's talk about probably, a word that often gets misinterpreted as being unsure, but it's actually a sign of a careful, thoughtful speaker.
Probably. Okay, I'm all ears because, to be honest, I used to think it made me sound wishy-washy, like I was hedging my bets or something.
Right, but what if it's not about being unsure, but about acknowledging that we don't know everything for sure?
Yeah, I like that. Probably means you've thought about the different angles, you're making a guess based on what you know, but you're not claiming to be a mind reader, right?
It's like saying it's going to rain tomorrow versus it'll probably rain tomorrow. One is like a weather report gone rogue. The other is, well, a normal person who knows that weather can be unpredictable.
Exactly. It brings a little humility, a little flexibility into how we talk. We can share our thoughts, make predictions without freaking out if things don't go exactly to plan.
Because, that's just life, isn't it? Plans change, surprises pop up. Sometimes the best you can do is roll with it and say, probably. It's like, life throws you a curveball and instead of freaking out, you just kind of shrug and go, probably.
Yeah.
But hey, speaking of those little words that pack a punch, let's talk about really. Seems pretty basic, right?
Yeah, you hear it all the time.
But this source made me realize it's like the salt of the English language.
The salt?
Yeah, like it adds that extra flavor, that intensity, turns up the volume on your emotions.
Okay, I see what you mean. It's like instead of that cake was good, you say that cake was really good.
Exactly. One is just being polite. The other one has you reaching for seconds, maybe thirds. And the best part, you can use it with almost any adjective, any adverb, really.
Right. It just emphasizes the feeling, whether it's joy, disappointment, surprise. It adds a layer of authenticity.
It's like that unspoken emphasis that says, I really mean this.
Totally.
So, listeners, think of something you feel strongly about. Could be your favorite band, a social issue, anything. Now, how can you use really to make your point clear, unforgettable? Give it a try.
And while you're playing with that, let's move on to a word that just perfectly captures that it's about time. Feeling. You know the one.
Oh, I do. You're talking about finally.
Finally.
The word that's all about relief, excitement, maybe even a little bit of drama, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Like, my package finally arrived. I can stop stalking the delivery driver now. Exactly. It highlights the anticipation, the effort that came before. It's like you get to share that feeling of accomplishment, whether it's finishing a marathon or, finally hanging that picture that's been sitting on the floor for weeks.
It's like that collective sigh of relief that we made it. And that feeling, even for the smallest wins, it's actually really connecting.
It is. It's a good reminder, too.
Yeah.
Even the toughest journeys, they reach their destination eventually.
Speaking of reaching our destination, we've arrived at our final word, totally. Now, this one might seem casual, but don't underestimate it.
Oh, absolutely not.
Because sometimes totally is all you need to show you're on board, like completely agree.
It's that feeling of, I get you. We're on the same page.
Like you're speaking the same language, even if you're using different words. Totally. Just sums it up. So as we wrap up this deep dive into these 10 simple but powerful words, remember, language, it's more than just information. It's about connecting, sharing those experiences. It's about those little touches that make your speech stand out. And the best part, these 10 words, they're for everyone. They're not complicated. They're the tools you need to sound more natural, more engaging, more you.
So listeners, one last thought before we go. What word from today's deep dive spoke to you? Which one are you going to try using more this week? We want to hear those absolutely's and totallys out in the wild.